It's a beautiful Monday morning in the city of Lagos, Southwest Nigeria. My name is Tabola Ogunshaka, and I'm starting with Vanguard on the paper review. Vanguard is leading with CYBERCRIME ACT, emergency rule protest, anxiety as police organizers differ. Why we are leading protests that's coming from TIB and Chiwure, demand repeal of Cybercrime Act, want government institutions restored in River State, NLC, JAF, others back protests. Authorities must uphold human rights ahead of planned protests that's coming from Amnesty International. Police beef up security around strategic locations, installations in Lagos. You can see that story on page 5 of Vanguard newspaper. On page 10, Umai to Sanwo-Olu close Eko, Kata bridges and waterways. Ikwazu Ashewusan Yomokri, Ikwazu Ashewusan Yomokri market shrinks further. You can see that one on page 22. Tinubu SGF, others mourn as ex-Oyo governor Olunloyo dies at 89. On sport, page 39, MPFL, Imba stop warriors in Oriental Derby. And both we have on page 9, Trump's tariff, over 50 countries ready to negotiate. That's according to United States official. Thousands march against Trump in United States. Police withdraw invitation letter to Emir Sanusi. And lastly, on Vanguard, we have Mutwang played two attacks and genocidal as a Christian Association of Nigeria, ACF, others condemn killings. That story can be seen on page 13 of Vanguard newspaper. Away from there, we'll move to the Guardian. Guardian is leading with one fiscal year, two budget spike, governance concerns in Rivers. You can see that on page 6. On page 8, emergency responder, 16 others die in Ogun multiple auto crash. Tinubu Southern governors are very others, Monolu lawyer. You can see that on page 7. I chose not to challenge flawed system, says Akpata as PDP appeals Edo ruling. NDLEA laments appetite for Canadian grown cannabis in Nigeria. You can see that on news page 9 and on Metro page 7. We have a dedicated ones of shoe monarchs against controversial utterances fighting publicly. Police withdraw Sanusi's Abuja's invitation to quiz monarch in Kano. United States tariff opportunity to grow Nigeria's non-oil export, says Uduole. You can see that on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper. Away from there, we move to the Nation. Nation is leading with police protesters head for showdown in Lagos, Abuja. Group to hit streets are kicking against anti-cyber security law. Reverse emergency orders. Action subversive on Police National Day. You can see that on page 2. And on page 7, Bobrisky smuggled 35 million naira into Kirikiri prison. Two Chinese killed in Abia. You can see the stories on page 6 of the Nation newspaper. And telecom service quality worsens. You can see that on page 23 and on page 3. Labour Party accuses NLC of plotting to invade secretariat. Party alerts police and DSP. You can see that on page 3. Explosion at Lagos dump site. Police, army probe source of explosive. 1,820 residents displaced by Plateau attacks. Jimo Ibrahim lists Tinubu's role in strengthening foreign policy. You can see that on page 2 and page 4 of the Nation newspaper. And lastly, let's take a look at the Punch newspaper. And the Punch is leading with 20 governors under fire for delayed 70,000 naira minimum wage. Local government workers, teachers in Zamfara, Cross River, Abias, others yet to get minimum wage. You can see that on page 2. And on page 31, why Trump tariff is bad for Nigerian exports. This according to the federal government. 15 injured in Lagos gas explosion. Nigeria's debt servicing rises 68% to 13 trillion naira. You can see this on the pages 31 and 5 of the Punch newspaper. 2027 coalition pushes for single term candidates. Supreme Court judgment, Abure fears a Labour Party headquarter takeover by NLC. And lastly, on the Punch newspaper, police commands braids for fresh nationwide protest. You can see that on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. And that's all we have on the front pages of the dailies this morning. Join us after the break for a brief analysis of some of the stories with our guests. Welcome back. If you're just joining me, this is today the News on Vanguard Live. My name is Damlola Ogunshaki, and joining me to analyze the stories with Mr. Ali Mohammed. He's the CEO of Magis Communications, former editor of Daily Times and Concord newspaper. Good morning, Mr. Ali.
Morning, Damilola. How are you?
I'm very
How
fine.
was your weekend?
It was great. All right, let's talk about the protest this morning. So, the organizers of today's nationwide protest, Take It Back movement, yesterday, they differed with the police over the property of the action against the Cybercrime Act and suspension of democratic structure in Rivers State. That's following the position of the emergency rule on the state by the federal government. What do you think about the protest, the organized
Well,
protest?
they have a legitimate right to protest against any perceived injustice. But what I am opposed to is violence. You don't encourage violence when you protest. If you go into the dictionary and look at the meaning of protest, it's a civil kind of opposition to government policies or ideas. It's not violence against government policies or ideas. You see, Shure has become so associated with violent protests, which to me is unnecessary. I support any form of protest. It is one of the restraints that we give to democratic governments. Because if you allow a democratic government to operate without any form of restraints, such a government will be dictatorial. So coming back to his protest, we support it, but we we I abhor violence. You don't encourage violence at a time when people are trying to survive and work hard to earn something to run their homes. Any violent protests now could cause a lot of crisis in the polity. So whatever protests that they are planning should be peaceful. Nobody should be allowed to go violent because you have a right to protest.
So part of what they are protesting about is because of the structure, what is currently going on in Rivers State. They are also against the sole administrator, and they
Mm.
are, saying this is killing democracy in the state, especially with the things he has, his actions so far.
Damilola, protest will not solve that problem. You can protest and go and sit down. Anybody that feels aggrieved about the situation in Rivers State can approach the courts, file a genuine case, follow up with that case, and I'm sure that we have a vibrant judiciary in this country that will right the wrongs. So it's not about protest. If you feel strongly about um, the composition of the officials that are handling the affairs of River State because of the declaration of a state of emergency, you can approach the courts and follow up that matter properly. And I'm sure justice will be done to such a case. I am not in support of violence because their approach could lead to violence, and violence will not solve any problem. That is the truth of the matter. To me, the approach of Sowore will lead to violence. If he's genuinely concerned about the situation in Rivers State, he should approach the courts. We still have courts that are vibrant. We still have courts that can follow the path of uh, honesty and truth. And at the end of the day, we will get somewhere. But this approach through demonstration, to me, will cause a crisis. So we have to really be careful about going around Lagos or any part of Nigeria demonstrating. We really need to be careful.
Well, the Nigerian police in the statement by his first public relation officer Muyiwa, said that this is not actually a time to protest because that there's a motive behind such protest that is scheduled on the same day the contribution of the Nigerian police force to national security is to be celebrated.
That excuse to me is untenable. If you say that a protest at this time in this country could lead to a crisis, yes, it can. I have said it earlier that we may have crisis if there is a protest, but you don't attribute it to the celebration of a police event. That to me, it's a wrong excuse to ask them not to protest because you are celebrating a police event. It's not strategic enough. But for the peace of the country, for the fact that we have other provisions or other avenues through which we can get justice for the River State people over the declaration of emergency, yes, they can approach the courts. But that excuse given by Muiwa is untenable. You are celebrating Police Day, so if there is a reason to protest against the subversion of the fundamental human rights of any citizen, so that citizen cannot protest. That reason is not solid enough. But I am insisting that protest is not the solution to the crisis in Rivers State. The federal government has declared a state of emergency in that state. There are constitutional provisions through which that proclamation can be challenged. And the president, in his announcement, didn't say that that decision cannot be challenged in a court of law. As citizens, I can challenge it. You can challenge it. Anybody can challenge it. If you feel that as a Nigerian citizens, you have something at stake in River State, and the decision is going to affect what you have at stake in River State, you can challenge it. So protest is not the solution as far as I am concerned. The problem in River State is a constitutional problem that can only be addressed by a court of law in this country. So people should refrain from going violent about the crisis or the constitutional crisis in River State because they can challenge that situation in a court of law and nothing will happen.
All right. One of the things that the comments that was online today was that some people were saying that they are going to be joining the protest not because of the Cybercrime Act or anything. They are going to be joining the protest because of hunger and the value the naira depreciation. Well, that's it's taking me to this this one the question I'm going to ask you that special advisor on the economic affairs to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Dr. Tokwe, he defended the value of the naira locally. Said despite its weakness against the dollar, saying that $1 equivalent to over 1,500 naira can still buy a meal in Nigeria. So
you can ask that special advisor to the president if he can feed himself, just himself, with 1,500 naira.
Well, he said multidimensional dimensional poverty is very different.
You see, Damilola, when somebody is in the position of authority, you have to watch what you say. I read that story in the papers that in the US, $1 cannot buy you a lunch or breakfast, but it can give you lunch in Nigeria. I cannot feed with 1,500. I cannot have a lunch of 1,500. I have gone past that. So if he can do it very well, you see, that statement to me is inciting and it is insulting. You are inciting negative comments against the government in which you serve. That is the meaning of what he's doing, because he doesn't even know what the interpretation of what he said. How can you sit down and say that if you exchange $1, $1 now is about 1,000 520, 1,000, 510, in that range. You know how much a plate of rice is now without a single meat. Will you call bole and fish a good meal? That it shows the background from which that character came from. It shows his background. You see, whatever comes out of your mouth is a reflection of the kind of life you are living. Unfortunately, he's a special advisor to the president, but people should watch what they say. You don't bring down the quality of life in Nigeria because you must say something as a government official. And so, whoever it is that said that should watch it. He is inciting the people against the government of which he is a member. And that is unfortunate. You don't sit down and talk carelessly because you are in government. People should watch what they say. I'm sure you would have been cautioned by somebody in a higher office because of that statement. It's like you are laughing at people. That 1,500 can buy. You know how much a roasted fish is now? Croaker. You can't get a good croaker fish for 5,000. Once it is roasted with all the things that goes with it, you can't get it for less than 10,000. Go and check it out. So that means he doesn't even know what he's saying. Is he social at all? Does he go out to eat? Croaker fish now with what is it? All the things that they will sell with it is not less than 10,000. We go out every night. We see how high prices of food is, especially in bars where they sell beer, they sell roasted fish and all that. Roasted roasted chicken alone is 10,000 naira now in any bar. Go and check it out. So does that equate to the exchange rate which he is talking about? People should sit down and think before they talk. And I am sure that in the next few days, somebody in government will call that guy to order.
All right, let's move away from that. And some governors, they've said that 20 states have yet to implement the 70,000 naira new minimum wage for local government workers and the primary school teachers. And it's been a long time.
Unfortunately, they didn't. I read that story. Unfortunately, they didn't mention those states. These are state governments that get federal government allocation.
They mentioned some states: Yobe, Gombe, Zamfara, Kaduna, Imo, Ebonyi, Cross River, FCT, Borno, and
even FCT, where Wike presides. That is an embarrassment. Somebody should tell Wike to implement the minimum wage. He has boasted too much about his competence, about his ability to turn things around in the FCT. Somebody somewhere in the presidency should talk to him. And those states that are yet to implement the minimum wage, we are talking about 70,000 naira per month for workers. It is not enough to do anything. It is not enough. Consider a man with children, maybe 2 children, on 70,000 naira. You are shaking your head too. That it won't get anywhere. It won't really get anywhere. You pay for your house, or maybe government gives you an apartment where you are living. You have to pay for transportation. You have to feed yourself, feed your wife, and 2 children. You spend more than 70,000 naira in a month. That's the truth of the matter. So we can only beg those states that are not implementing the minimum wage yet that they should endeavor to pay more than 70,000 to their workers, and they should start the implementation immediately. You see, you don't turn the country to a lawless environment. A law has been passed that all the state governments should implement the minimum wage. Any state that is yet to do that is violating that law. But unfortunately, we don't have provisions for punishment of those states in our constitution. That's the sad aspect of it. If we do, by now those states should have been taken to court because it's a crime against the people. It's a law. minimum wage law was signed by President Tinubu. Maybe you didn't see it on TV. It was signed. So why are states violating that law? The presidency should do something about it.
All right, let's talk about the United States and President Donald Trump. He has said that over 50 countries are ready to negotiate with them based on their tariff laws. What's your take on this? Because Nigeria seems to be complaining that this tariff is going to be affecting them.
You see, the United States is banking on the fact that its currency is stronger than currency of any country in this world. And that is because we have all abandoned our country's development in the past years. If you think Donald Trump doesn't know what he's doing, then whoever thinks so is the person that is in the dark. The old man knows that a lot of countries in Africa depends on the United States for survival. And his policies, therefore, is targeted on ensuring that dependence on the United States continues to the detriment of many African states. So what is going to happen now is that it is you, as the president of your country, that will have to show up the value of whatever you are doing in terms of currency, in terms of investment, in terms of bilateral relationships with the US. So you have to be really strong and know what you are doing before you go into any economic relationship with the United States of America. He has set a stake for his country, and it is left for African states to rise up to that demand. And in doing that, every country will have to be prepared economically.
But do you think Nigeria can be prepared or will be prepared? Because do you think Nigeria can take this opportunity to increase their value, the value of the currency?
The problem we have with our currency is over dependent on imports. Even locally, we value some of our projects in dollars. A road project in Abuja was valued in dollars with Julius Berger Nigeria Limited. It was valued in dollars. For as long as you as a country spend naira and you continue to value whatever project you are doing in Nigeria in dollars, you are not helping the economy. You are not helping the stability of your currency in the international world. You are not helping the value of your currency in the international world. For as long as we continue to import and do less of export, we will continue to fight to bring down the cost of exchange of the naira to the dollar, because it means we are not creative in terms of foreign exchange earning. We are not creative. If you go to the airport now, you see a lot of people coming in with foreign goods, but they are going out with small bags. When they are coming, they buy boxes. But when they are going, it is a small bag.
So you do your shopping. Okay.
You do your shopping because, in fact, I have seen somebody that tucked in 3 boxes into one with almost empty content, just 3 boxes. So when he's coming back to Nigeria, he will buy clothes, buy perfume in dollars, buy shoes, buy everything he wants, including that of his wife and children, and come with boxes. So when he gets to the airport, he will have to pay custom duties. So why can't we encourage a situation where we also export? Although there is a problem with exportation in Nigeria, I've also tried it and I had to beat a retreat. If you want to export anything in Nigeria today, if it is something perishable, you take it to the customs yard at the airport. They will give you what you are going to pay, then you pay. Whatever you are exporting will be there because you are waiting for other government agencies to come and inspect and give approval. That inspection could take 3 weeks. If it is something perishable, it would have been spoiled before it leaves Nigeria. Are you encouraging exports or discouraging it? I have somebody that was exporting cashew nuts. Everything worth over 3 million got spoiled at the airport. So we have a problem in Nigeria, not helping ourselves to create wealth because we depend more on importation than exportation. It is a complex situation. I hope we will come out of it one day. Because I sit down and I don't know. I don't want to be like somebody in the Bible that doesn't see anything good in what people do. But I have that hope that one day we will get to a stage that things will change and we will do things that will benefit the country far more than the things we are doing to destroy the image and reputation of Nigeria as a country.
All right, Mr. Lee, let's end it on lighter notes with Mr. and Mrs. And they both seem to be touching on the, the petrol sector this morning. And
On
Mrs.
petrol,
Yes, and
what
Mrs.
about it?
says petrol is not 916 naira from
Yes.
816 naira per liter.
Mm,
You will need to increase the money for food
why?
as the price of petrol increases. And Mr. replied, since we have to feed by the price of petrol, how much is the current price of a liter of egusi soup?
That's what we just finished discussing. You see, it shows it is a reflection of what is happening in individual homes. Do you know that some homes are going through this? I listen to a lot of quarrels in my office. You see a staff coming in with tight face. What is the problem? Did you quarrel with madam? Yes, sir. Over what? Money. And at the end of the day, when he's going, whatever I have, 5,000 I will give. And you see him smiling. We have a tense situation in Nigeria. What Mrs. is doing is a reflection of what is happening in true life. If you don't have this way of just ignoring all these price increases, you will just be thinking about the amount of money you spend. This morning I bought fuel for 95 naira. I bought 30 liters. It won't keep me round the week. By Wednesday or Thursday, I have to buy again. So if I sit down and start thinking about what I spend on petrol, will I want to go to work? I won't. But instead, I focus on how to make more money. You can't owe me. I won't allow you to owe me. If I have done a job for you, please pay me. I will harass that person to pay me. But if you continue to think and you stop being yourself, you are inviting sickness into your system. So we have to be careful there.
But it seems Mrs. also, the women in the house, they picked up new habits. They don't go to the market alone. They drag Mr. along.
No, I won't
You need
go.
to, you need
I
to,
won't go
you need
to the
to know how
market.
much the things are in the market so that you won't complain at all.
No. You see, the Yoruba said, "Kì í jẹ́ ti bàbá tọmọ kó má làálàá." Iṣẹ́ obìnrin ni. It is the women that must go to the market. I don't. You see, look, if I say certain things, you won't believe it. I don't care about the prices, but I just want to have my peace. If I buy what I feel I want to buy, if you come and tell me something is 20,000 and I have 10,000, I will give it to you. And so if you like, go and buy 20,000, that means you're adding your money. Because if you go to the hospitals and see how people are down with stroke, high blood pressure, go to Lasot, emergency wards. I was there about 2 weeks ago to see somebody. Emergency ward, people are being treated in their cars. People with stroke are being treated inside their cars because there are no spaces inside the wards and the emergency units. So if you sit down and look at those people, then you will learn a lesson that you have to, as much as possible, avoid a situation where whatever is going on in Nigeria will affect you to a point that you become sick. Because it is more expensive if you become sick and you have a stroke than to manage whatever situation you find yourself and survive and float. So it is the choice of Nigerians to either descend to a level where you have to become a patient in the hospital or manage your affairs in such a way that you have peace and you don't have any need to go to the hospital. If you look at what is in Nigeria today, you want to go mad.
So don't let Nigeria
that is the truth of the matter.
Don't let Nigeria affect you.
Yes.
I guess that's the new song people need to start singing.
No, I'm serious. I went to see a friend there. I saw the things that I saw scared me. Young man, 35, down with stroke. And he was being treated in a car. What is the problem? We have to be careful. Yes, it's a tense situation, but please do what you are able to do. Sometimes I have also created a situation in my office now. If you don't have any need to come to work, stay work from home. If I need to contact you, I will contact you. If I don't need to contact you, stay in your house. Let me have whatever you are doing. You have email, you have WhatsApp, you have all forms of communication. So all your staff doesn't have to come to the office every day because you are also saving transportation costs. You are saving the money that person will have to spend on feeding. If he's in his house, he probably will have food to eat without spending money at all. So if you look at the totality of what it takes to break down as a human being, you will now have to choose between breaking down and surviving. So it is costlier to allow the Nigerian situation to break you down. And it is cheaper for you to be contented with the situation that you are in and work hard to improve that situation. That is my advice to our viewers this morning. We have to survive by all means.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Liu, for joining us this morning.
You're most welcome.
Yes, this is where we have to draw the curtain. My name is Damlola Ogunshakin. Do what to like and follow us on all our social media platforms showing on your screen. You can also visit our website,